check this shit out, people. In France. Isn't that just the greatest thing you've heard? We gotta keep the peasants away from John Kerry's family, because after all, they are royalty and we are peasants. And then you jump over here to the Free Thought Project. Twitter bashes the Queen over video in front of a gold piano, urging her subjects to pull it together. Yeah, nothing says Christmas like a billionaire sitting in front of a gold piano telling us all to pull it together in this difficult time. How difficult is it for these people? How difficult? It's not. It can't be. The only people these times are difficult for are people like myself and you. And then back here at Blacklisted News, we have down here AT&T to deliberately hoax its own customers by falsely labeling 4G phones with a 5G icon. Isn't that great? And finally, this is the one I'm going to cover in depth. Doctor exposed to Ebola, quarantined in Nebraska. I said one of the ways it would spread in the United States is if they deliberately brought an infected person over here, and look what they did. Now, if it were not for that, there would be no risk to people in America or the Americas at all, because it takes, you know, a person to come here with the disease and begin to spread it. And the likelihood, unless, of course, like I said, it was a doctor or some sort of health care worker there in the Congo. An American doctor exposed to Ebola while working in the Democratic Republic of Congo was placed into quarantine in as a secure area at the University of Nebraska, officials said. Now, just think what a malicious person could do with the urine, fecal matter, and cultures from this patient. The physician, who is not exhibiting symptoms of Ebola, and by the way, it takes quite a while for symptoms to begin to manifest, was transported by private plane and a car, and that's good, because if it would have been a commercial plane, it would have increased the likelihood of it spreading. But, you know, like I said, they don't have to bring these people here. They can treat them over there in Africa. They can. They can. So, you know, in my opinion, the only reason they would have to bring this person over here is malicious. But, you know, then again, I am a very, very cynical person. Nebraska Medicine, a network of hospital, clinics, and healthcare colleges, together with academic partner UNMC, are among world leaders in the treatment of Ebola, which spreads through contact with bodily fluids and causes hemorrhagic fever with severe vomiting, diarrhea, and bleeding. The current Ebola outbreak in the Congo is the second worst in recorded history, killing 356 out of 585 people who have contracted it since it began to spread 6 months ago. Nebraska medicine handled 3 patients with Ebola in 2014 and monitored several more for exposure during a 2013-2016 West African outbreak that was the worst on record, which tallied over 28,000 confirmed cases, killing more than 11,000. In 2014, a Harlem doctor set off a panic in New York City when he returned from Guinea infected with the virus and then rode the subway before going bowling, and I covered this in Williamsburg. He was hospitalized and released several weeks later with a clean bill of health. So this doctor, you know, I don't know if this doctor knew that he had it. I do believe, I recall that he did know, and he still went out in public, and in my opinion was deliberately trying to spread it. Now, there's a college professor, maybe former by now, named Eric Bianca. I'm thinking he was a biologist. Don't quote me on that, but on that part anyway. But he said that he would love to create a virus to wipe out humanity with. Of course, I'm paraphrasing because it was a few years ago. But nonetheless, there's people out there who would deliberately spread Ebola just to see all those people suffer and die. And some of these people have access to these so-called secured labs. Now, how many times has the CDC and other agencies mishandled one of these extremely deadly diseases and have them be lost? It's happened quite a few times. And all it takes is one time for a malicious person to get a hold of a vial of samples, or a sample of it, a culture, and all they have to do is start spreading it, you know. So it was a very stupid thing for them to bring this doctor from the Congo to Nebraska for treatment. They could have sent people over there. They could have sent the necessary medicine and equipment. But instead, they chose to risk spreading it in the United States. So, you can't trust these people. You can't trust them. You can't trust them. And I cannot stress this enough. Now let's go back to bitch Queen Elizabeth. Oh, yeah. Something else I forgot to mention was Angela Merkel, or Angela, however you say that bitch's name. She, in a recent speech, said that countries need to give up their national sovereignty to the New World Order. And what she really means is you need to give up your freedom, national sovereignty to a one world order. So let's check this out and see if there's any of these hilarious tweets that I'm sure were out there. Alright, so Queen Elizabeth of England delivered her annual Christmas message this year and is receiving some much-deserved backlash for it on social media for being completely out of touch. The British monarch, whose family will confiscate $95 million from its English taxpayers to pay for their cost of living in their castle this year, delivered her message this year urging her subjects to come together and treat each other with respect. Right. in quotes, even with the most deeply held difference, and as a fellow human being is always a good first step towards greater understanding, said the 92-year-old monarch, who has lived off the backs of British citizens in a plush castle with hundreds of servants since just after World War II. Naturally, the Queen's message of unity and respect for fellow humans was not very well received by those who foot the bill for her lavish lifestyle. As the UK Mirror reports, the hate flowed through Twitter, with one social media user proclaiming, in quotes, always warms an old Republican's heart to see the billionaire head of an antiquated institution surrounding themselves with gold in their modest 775 roomed. No, my damn microphone stopped working for some reason. Let me start that one over. Another user wrote, the Queen says from her humble and modest surroundings, family kept her well occupied over the year. I suspect the thousands of mums and dads that use food banks and struggle on universal credit each week could say the same. Another said, I don't understand the criticism of old Miss Windsor is getting over her gold piano while she lectures her subjects. It's a fairly standard piece of furniture. I keep mine next to my diamond-encrusted microwave. Oh, man. I mean, look at this shit. And of course, there's people in the United States that are just like her that would say something similar, you know, like the president, while he's surrounded perhaps not by gold, but by luxury. The same with all of them. So anyway, I thought I'd share these with you. Let me see. I think there's one more here. One more. Yeah, John Kerry. John Kerry. Come on, you faggot. And I would really enjoy seeing a mob of people surround them and string them up like they belong, but, you know, people are pretty cowardly these days. So there's a battle to keep peasants from walking on the beach in front of John Kerry's family's home in France. How do you like that? Oh, what a nice looking place that is. Hikers demanding right-of-way along a pristine stretch of coastal France are locked in a legal war with villa owners in a posh Brittany resort town, not least the family of U.S. statesman and former presidential candidate John Kerry, unless the latest round of lawsuits seeking to curtail free access to the Emerald Coast Path near St. Briac Sumer, or Summer, or Surmer, something like that, succeeds. Officials say it will be open to all starting next year, as it should be. Fuck John Kerry. Fuck all these, fuck Queen Elizabeth, that old, decrepit fucking hag, and fuck the rest of them. They should all be either in prison or strung up, like I keep on saying. And of course, my saying that makes me a terrorist, a bad guy, but, you know, it's always dangerous to disagree with the government, isn't it? It's always dangerous to want to see the complete dismantle of not just this government, but all of them. And the only way that will happen, of course, is through heartache, blood, violence. So, till next time, kill the state before the state kills you.